Zombies rise as the Undead Horde season brings terrifying new cards. Let's break down every single one and find out which zombies are Dynamite and which are duds.
I'm changing it up this season, and instead of doing individual previews, I will be doing one massive season preview of every single new card coming to Snap. But before we get to those cards, we are going to start with
This would be the worst card ever.
Viv Vision. Her review is, she is still a dud. I know they buffed her in season, which means my assessment was right ahead of the season that she was going to be a dud. At 3-3, she does have a place. You will see her, but she just is fully passable in my humble opinion. So if you don't have her, I don't think you're missing out on much. And so let's just get into the zombie season review. And we start with the season pass card, the basic season pass card, and that is Zombie Scarlet Witch. These are just going to be some quick hitters. I do not think this card will be good. I think it's going to be a dud. Now, it reminds me of the Fantastic Four First Step season, where essentially like all of the cards work together, and the zombie mechanic, they really all work together, because at least with the Fantastic Four First Steps season, the end of turn stuff, you already had end of turn cards in game. So a lot of players already had those cards in their collection, so they could reasonably add one or two of those cards and make it work. This zombie season, it looks like you're gonna have to get every single card, and I have no interest in doing that, blowing all my resources for a one-trick pony. That the Horde card that appears is very susceptible to Shang-Chi and Shadow King, Red Guardian. At the later parts of the game, you have Cosmic Ghost Rider. There's a lot of tech. Stardust, if they get that down early, well, tokens can't be added to the board. So there's a decent amount of tech here. So while you're going to see some big numbers, you're going to see some clickbait, I am not sold at all on the zombie season. And that is the reason why it's being packaged into one video, because a lot of these cards I will be calling duds. And this card on its own, it's just okay on its own. And you don't want to run it on its own. You want to run it with some of the other cards. And a lot of people just get the season pass. You'll need to get the other cards if you want this card to be good in any capacity. And so, full disclosure, I get season pass codes now as a content creator who is part of the official Snap creator program. So I may end up getting this card just through that. But if that falls through, or I don't get the codes, then this is a card that I just would not use my own money to purchase at all. So if I end up getting the card in my collection, that will be why. But otherwise, it's fully passable in my mind. Headpool will be the card in the Super Duper Premium Pass, the one for more money. This card is a dud. I do not see it making the cut. There was a lot of buzz when Moira X came out, and I'll still see her from time to time, but she's fallen off. I'm sure the same thing will happen with Headpool. It's a lot of hoops to jump through for just +1. And you're running this in a destroy deck, or maybe there's some kind of hybrid, but you have to be running some kind of destroy cards. And I don't care if my destroy cards get +1. I'd rather be doing Deadpool stuff, or building up my null, discounting my death, which this does to some level. But I don't think this makes the cut at all in destroy decks. So if I didn't say it yet, this card is a dud. Colonel America?
Man is dumb.
I mean, Colonel America. He is a Dynamite card. Absolutely fantastic. Am I gonna get him? Probably not. I don't play discard. But this card, you can literally discard a card every turn of the game. There are 6 turns. This card can give +6 power to each card in its lane. That just about solos a lane. +6, +6, +6, 18, +3, 21. Quick math.
Man, do big maths!
So a 321. Absolutely fantastic. But otherwise, it will fall somewhere lower on that range, of course. And the reason why I say you can discard a card every turn is because this is an ongoing card. So it doesn't need to be on the board. You can play it on turn 6. And there are discard cards that you can play all throughout the process. And so, for the cards that I think are Dynamite, I have created decks. This deck is a different style of discard. I have Moon Knight and Black Bolt to go with a Stature, who I can pair on the last turn with a Colonel America. There's Mystique, who can double up Morbius. Way back in the day, you used to run Mystique in your discard decks to double up Morbius. So bringing that back, because now she has a different target as well in Colonel America. Cosmo for a bit of tech. Discard never runs tech. Let's do it. Let's run some tech. There's Scorn and Meek to benefit from some of the discards. There's Blade, Colleen Wing, Moon Knight, Black Bolt. How many discards can I have? There's Blade 1, Colleen Wing 2, Moon Knight 3. Okay, so only 3 discards here. I was wondering about Meek. I want Grandmaster in this deck. That way I can double up one of the discards. And so this style of deck, this may not be the perfect version, but this style of deck, you can really take advantage of the discards of Colonel America, essentially soloing a lane, Mystique potentially soloing her lane as well because you've doubled up Colonel America. And so you have some disruption with Moon Knight. So I think this is going to be a very good card, very strong card for discard, a different style of discard deck, maybe fits into current discard decks as well. A bullseye type deck, you're getting a couple of discards there. So I think this is going to be a fantastic card, but ultimately I don't know if I'm going to get them because I don't play much discard. Zombie Giant Man is a dud. This one, he's not going to be a bad card. This is where the power comes in with the Horde and zombies. You're giving your Horde +1. This is the power in the deck, a 5 cost, and it actually will have power. Your Horde should have a decent amount of power by turn 5 or 6 to really buff Zombie Giant Man up to a high enough level to that it makes it feel good to play the card. But again, it's so tied to the zombie niche that it only belongs in a zombie deck, and you need a lot of those zombie cards. You will need to draw a lot of those zombie cards to buff up the Horde. Yeah, I'm just not a fan of the zombies. Zombie Power Man is a dud. He only belongs in Agatha decks. And with Redshift, Agatha has all the tools she needs. Does that deck need additional redundancy? So, and it's one that your opponent can influence. Now, most of the time, especially if you draw this on turn 2, 4 power is just going to win the lane you play him in a good deal of your games. But I don't think that specific deck needs Zombie Power Man. The Agatha decks are strong enough. I mean, they just nerfed it a couple of weeks ago. So the deck is strong and good without Zombie Power Man. You don't need them. So because of that, I think this card just sits on your bench. This card is Nerd Dynamite has no clue what this card is going to be. He is very confused. There's one card that's even more confusing. But this card is confusing as to how good he's going to be. He buffs your Horde, but he has legitimate utility because it gives your created cards, 4 of your created cards +1. So even if you're not running a zombie deck, is the activate on its own just good enough with a Victoria hand decks primarily? So that is interesting to me. Ultimately, I will give this card a Dynamite because it is a card I'm interested in because of this deck. Now, this deck is one I created back when Kang got changed, when he got reworked. And no, Victoria Hand and Kang do not have synergy, but they have overlapping synergies with their support cards. Because Kang is a created card, Victoria Hand wants to have cards created. Quinjet works with both of them. And so King Eitri works with Kang. And so that's kind of the angle I was going with. When I tested this deck without Zombie Mr. Fantastic, it just was not performative enough, so it never made a deck video. But I recognize Zombie Mr. Fantastic is coming out. He definitely has synergy with Victoria Hand. I have no clue, as of this recording, if he has synergy with Kang. But if he does, I think this deck will be strong. The next card up is a 1-cost spell that you will get in a limited time event if you hit the top prize or second to top prize, wherever it ends up falling. And it just gives your Horde +3 power. So it is effectively a 1/3 that doesn't take up any space on your board. And this card is a dud. This is just continuing my trend with these zombie cards where they all, or a lot of them, need to be required in order to play a zombie deck. And I question the actual strength of that specific zombie deck. I think it will overall be a B tier or a second tier type of deck that's usable, can get you some wins, but will not be a top tier. And so this is just a spell that may or may not make the cut, but it doesn't move the needle too much because that Horde card is very susceptible to tech. Zombie Captain Marvel is a Dynamite. Yes, that's right, Dynamite. I'm switching it up. This card is interesting to me because you can activate it if you play it on turn 4. You can activate it on turn 5 or 6, and I genuinely don't know how good it's going to be, but I am interested, and I was interested enough to build a deck. And the style I went here is junk. So we have the junk cards in Debris and Absorbing Man and Grandmaster. There's, of course, Squirrel Girl. The Hood, you want cards that you can destroy easily with Zombie Captain Marvel. So Strange Supreme and Zombie Captain Marvel are at odds. They can be. But if you're playing like Squirrel Girl in that lane, in your supposed Zombie Captain Marvel lane, you're playing the Hood there, and maybe you just have a rock and a squirrel that Strange Supreme hasn't gobbled up, then being able to destroy that is fantastic. You are abandoning a lane that in theory is clogged, so you don't need too much power. You have the Demon from the Hood and Cannonball to clean up. There's also Shang-Chi. They can't play a lot at 10 power cards because they don't have a lot of board space. This is a junk deck. And so that's where my mind went with Zombie Captain Marvel. I'm sure she will have other applications. Maybe some kind of destroy deck is interesting. But my mind went to junk, and it seems a little bit more unique of a use than just straightforward destroy with her. And so that is Captain Marvel. Zombie Sentry is a dud. I don't even know what to say about this card. Clearly it's kind of related-ish to normal Sentry in that it deals with the right location. Now you can't play Zombie Sentry in the right location if you want to. And it just gives +1 to the Horde for each of those cards there. So up to 4 points of power for your Horde. And I don't know. I'm just continuing the trend. I'm not a big believer in the zombie deck, and it's really looking like it might be just a month off for me as far as new cards go. We'll see exactly how that plays out, how right or wrong I am. But like I like to say, I am always right.
Your brain is slowly dying.
Now this is the confusing card I was referencing earlier, the most confusing to me, Zombie Galacti. I am of course a Galactus fan. There are plenty of decks about Galactus on my channel, both the first and the second one. There's a playlist specifically for the first one. But this Zombie Galacti, so it's a 7-cost card, so you need 7 energy. And you also need to really build your deck. This is such a deck building challenge because 6 of your cards in your deck, if you end up playing this, transform, but if you don't end up playing it, they don't transform. So do you go all in on Zombie Galacti? Do you not go all in on them, but then if you don't, then maybe you don't end up playing them because you have other cards on the board that you want their ability for? 4 points of power is not a lot, so if you can buff them, of course, that helps when all these cards transform. It's so random. I am talking myself into this card being a dud. I think this is a very interesting card that just isn't good enough. Think Dormammu. Dormammu comes to mind. A very interesting card that just isn't good enough. Or maybe even Infinity Ultron on his release. A very interesting card that just wasn't good enough. So I think that's where this lands, and mainly because of the randomness and the barrier of this being a 7-cost card. So there's so many things to account for. You have to account for being able to play them. You have to account for just the randomness of which cards got transformed. And you have to account for, where they are on the board. Are you even going to draw Zombie Galacti? And so there's a lot to consider. Now, I said I'm not doing decks for dud cards, but this one was too interesting to pass up. So maybe I end up getting this dud card because I just like Galactus, so I'll get Zombie Galacti. The thought behind this is there's Makari and Wasp. If they get transformed, that's just free power. Especially if you can get Zombie Galacti buffed. And how do we get them buffed? Either through Viv Vision or Galacta. And how do we play him? Either through Luna Snow or Jennifer Kale. And then there's America Chavez thrown in just for a buff. Nico, just her different spells. Especially if you can draw Adam Warlock and Black Cat, again, to help you draw your deck. And if Adam Warlock switches, that's fantastic as well, because he's 0 power or maybe 1 or 2. If his power gets incremented because you're losing his lane or not winning his lane. So that was the thought here. I don't think this is going to be a good card, but it was so interesting. I was compelled to make a deck for it.
Next is no Dynamite. This would be the worst card ever.
Trash.
Thanks to the members of the channel, and thank you to everybody that makes it to the end of the video. Now, as you kind of heard, this whole season I am not high on at all. I know there's a lot of excitement. I'm probably in the minority when I say I'm not excited for this season. I spent a lot of my tokens during the robot season. They were more interesting to me. And this season, it's a big resource investment if the zombies don't pan out. And it's too high of a cost for me. The way they release cards in Marvel Snap, like to build this deck, you need 24,000 tokens minimum at least. So minimum at least, did I double myself up? Yes, I did. So yeah, because it's that big of an investment, it better be a good deck. So I hope it is. Like I really do. But I just have serious doubts, which you heard me outline. So to end the video, I will have a giveaway. Sure, let's have a giveaway if they give me the season passes for Zombie Scarlet Witch. Hopefully I get the passes and I can give away 2, so it's predicated on that. But if you are interested in the season pass, explicitly tell me if you think I'm right or wrong, and that you are interested in the season pass. Put season pass in your message, please. It'll make it easier for me to just collect the responses and do a random drawing. And be on the lookout 24 hours later for a response. Anybody that has season pass in the message, I will wait to respond to all of those messages, and I will let you know whether you're a winner or a loser, just so you have notice. And so, yeah, that is the recap of this season. Now, I never brought you a deck video for Viv Vision, so let's get to that. Okay, Magical Sniper is the bonus game opponent. This is the deck I used to climb from 83 to 93. And it just didn't pan out enough. It didn't feel strong enough to make a deck video out of. So that's why it's just a bonus game. But I did have success with it, so maybe you will as well. Surge over here. With Bifrost, if you're going to play a card middle, you might as well play it right in case it's Fist Tower or something. Or that. Let's go Zabu. And Agony. That's okay. We are very obviously going up against a Wiccan deck. My next turn... Uh-oh. What did you take? Jeff. Okay. I mean, I guess it's just Sebastian Shaw. I can't Red Guardian the Jeff. So let's do this. They are getting a Shang-Chi in all likelihood. But the Sebastian Shaw is at 9 power. And they're not filled middle because they can move the copycat. Okay, or the copycat just moves on her own because of Bifrost. Okay, this is +2. So let's go here and here. That should gain me priority. And I'm saying gain priority because of Red Guardian. Ooh, this fills middle. Okay. Very nice. So they have priority. And what do I get? A Hydra Bob. So I can play all of the cards. So let's go Merlin middle with a Mobius and a Hydra Bob and call it a day. What is this? A Shadow King? The Shadow King goes off. I don't know how this order works. Did they top deck something? Let's just go here. Ooh, that's rough. So we win middle. At least we put the buff left. But I can't imagine. What is this? That is an interesting last turn snap. Very, very interesting. Okay. So, this is the deck I used. You did not get to see Viv Vision because she might be a little bit of a dud. That is why she got buffed within her season. So if you try out this deck, maybe you have success, let me know. But otherwise, until next time.